Welcome to Spotlight, the podcast featuring African MRI researchers. In today's episode, we have the privilege of delving into the remarkable journey of Dr. Amal, a neuroradiologist, associate professor of radiology, and the immediate past dean of the School of Medicine, Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia. She stands as one of the few female neuroradiologists in the country and is the first and to date the only female president of the Radiological Society of Ethiopia. She is the vice president of the Ethiopian Medical Association and the immediate past president of the Council of Medical Schools in Ethiopia. Her accomplishments have not only broken gender barriers, but have also inspired a new generation of medical professionals. As you'll hear in a minute, Dr. Amal's story is one of the power of passion, education, and perseverance. Hi, Dr. Amal. It's so lovely to welcome you to the Spotlight podcast, and I'm sure our listeners are really excited to hear more from you today. Can you please tell us a little bit about your background and how it led to where you are today?
Thank you for having me. Just to say a little bit about myself, I was born and raised in Ethiopia. I'm the fourth of 9 kids, and I guess everybody always wants one child to be a doctor, at least one child to be a doctor in the family. And I guess that landed on me, but I never envisioned myself to be where I am today. And I think it's just one thing that led into another that got me where I am today.
Yeah, it's a miraculous journey, though. We know a little bit about your accolades from the introduction, but can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to become a neuroradiologist? And if you could tell us, did you always want to become a doctor? I heard you said that, it was one child in the family that needed to do it. But was it an aspiration of your own?
No, it was not. I never envisioned myself to be on this journey. It wasn't something that I particularly wanted to do, even as a child, but I was always very passionate about environmental stuff, and that was what I wanted to do, but that was not available in Ethiopia at the time. So I ended up doing medicine. But having said that, I do not regret, having done it and doing neuroradiology, first radiology and then neuroradiology. And I think the brain is a fascinating thing. And I think during my residency, I think I felt comfortable with the brain and the spine more than any other part.
Yeah.
I did not like chest radiology, that's for sure. No offense to those who do it, but I don't think it was for me.
Great to hear. Yeah, definitely the brain is very intriguing. So I'm sure you're always constantly inspired. Could you tell us a little bit about the fact that, you're one of the very few neuroradiologists in Ethiopia? So could you tell us a little bit about your journey, about a little bit of insight about how you actually got to be where you are?
I think subspecialty training is in its infancy at the moment in Ethiopia, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa. So we were, me and another colleague of mine were the first to train as neuroradiologists in Ethiopia, although there were our seniors who had trained abroad.
Yeah.
So we were the first batch of neuroradiology trainees in Ethiopia. And following that, I think we've accepted maybe 2, maximum 3 neuroradiology trainees each year, or every other year, depending on what our capacity was and if we were able to do it. And of course, the collaborations that we've had, which we had some struggles with sometimes. So I think in a population of 120 million people, to be one of the few neuroradiologists in Ethiopia, it is a lot of responsibility, and I'm honored to be part of that team of neuroradiologists in Ethiopia, and not just neuroradiology, but again, like I said, any subspecialty training in our country.
Yeah. Would you say that it's kind of changed over the past few years? Would you say that there's more growth in the subspecialties in Ethiopia?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's the demand, and we're also opening up new programs. There is a shift in mindset to increase the subspecialty trainings. So I think we've done quite well compared to some countries in sub-Saharan Africa, where we have these programs. So we have 5 subspecialty programs at the moment, and we are working on opening our 6th, which is breast imaging or breast radiology. So we're very pleased with our institution in the direction we've taken, and
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
really amazing. I mean, to set up, you mentioned 6 subspecialties already, with a new one coming through, that it really is amazing and inspiring. I wanted to ask you, with these specialty programs, are they open just for Ethiopians, or do you see other people from other countries in Africa coming to Ethiopia, in order to get subspecialty training as well?
The opportunity is there for anyone to join. But I think in radiology, we haven't had anybody join us yet. But in other subspecialty programs in our institutions, for example, pulmonary and critical care, we have had colleagues from Rwanda who have trained with us. There's a lot of interest in other countries joining, particularly in residency programs. But I'm hopeful that they will join. Um, I'm hopeful they'll join in subspecialty in the near future.
Amazing. So how would you say that you face the challenges? Because I know in Africa, one of the major challenges that we have is resource limitation, and this applies to trained radiologists as well. Could you please talk about any initiatives, or training initiatives that have improved the amount of subspecialists that have come through to Ethiopia? Yeah.
Um, um, I think the collaborations that we've had in the past few years have been instrumental in the training programs that we have. We have different partners in the US and in Canada, particularly, who have contributed quite a bit. But I feel like they have contributed, but we've also contributed something to the training program as well. So I always say that collaboration is a two-way street. We
Yeah.
have something to offer, and they also have something to offer. So unless we have that kind of understanding, collaborations usually do not last long. So the University of Toronto has supported most of our programs in radiology. The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia for pediatric radiology. And for us in neuroradiology, we started off our partnership with Emory, but that um, did not last long due to multiple factors. So it was quite a struggle to find collaborators who could um, take over and help with that, particularly during COVID. And I think that was a problem for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, but we were lucky to have different neuroradiologists in Europe and in the US by way of um, the Health for the World program, who helped us with online lectures, case discussions, one-on-one case discussions as well. And then we finally found a new partnership with UPenn. So that's our current collaborators for our neuroradiology program. But I think it's quite hard to maintain these collaborations and keep them going until we're on our own 2 feet, that we can take over with the majority of the work.
Mm-hmm.
But with advanced imaging and improvement in so many instruments and in imaging methods, we're still quite challenged in getting these equipments with frequent breakdown, even if we get them because of lack of good after sales agreements. So that has been quite a challenge. And I think partnership will still continue to be important in these aspects. So um, I think there's a lot of potential on the continent, with multiple challenges pulling you down along the way. But I think you just have to take your wins and work on your losses and try and improve on those.
I think with having people like you on board, we definitely are going to see some change in the future. So that would be great. Dr. Amal, I also wanted to ask, you've had such an impactful career, starting off as a radiologist, subspecializing as a neuroradiologist, and I know in your recent most role, you were the dean of the medical school. Could you please tell us a little bit about what it's like to have an impactful career? And I'm pretty sure that it requires quite a degree of focus. What characteristics do you believe that have empowered you to achieve the success you've achieved in your goals, so that our listeners can be inspired?
I'm always humbled by these kind of comments because I do not see my journey as, like a path that I paved and wanted to achieve. It was just one thing after another that led to where I am. And I find it quite difficult to, respond in a typical way, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was just opportunities that came along the way, and people who believed in me and gave me the opportunity to work in these roles. And I want to say I've said no to every position I've been asked initially, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I have said no initially to all positions because um, I don't know. But I like to, if I do accept something, or I'm, pushed or nudged to accept something, I want to do a good job, and I want to be fair. I want to do, if somebody comes to my office, I want to treat them like I would want to be treated if I was going to that office.
Yeah.
And I am particularly um, focused on meeting deadlines and not just meeting them, but way ahead of time because I always anticipate a lot of things to go wrong. So if I have a deadline, I want to be done with it if I can a week early, if not at least 3 days early. But that's just my mindset. Um, so maybe I push people sometimes to kind of run with me.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's the opportunities provided because people believed in me for some reason, and I didn't want to disappoint, and I wanted to do a good job. So I guess um, if you find yourself in that position, just do the best you can. Be fair. Never hurt anyone. Don't mistreat anyone. And do the best you can to help. I think
Really great advice. Yeah.
yeah.
Really, really good advice. Where do you think the future of radiology is heading?
On the continent, I feel like there's a great potential. Are there challenges? Definitely, particularly with artificial intelligence, which is all the talk that is right now. Whether you're in the global north or the global south, it's a topic that is coming up more frequently. But I think we should embrace it and not feel like it's a threat, but with caution, particularly with data and data sharing and stuff like that, and make sure we do the right thing. Um, I feel like there's a lot we can do. We
Yeah.
just need the infrastructure to do it and the belief of our management and our leaders. Uh, I think that's important. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is that you feel like AI is going to play a big role in radiology in the future, but that we just need to equip ourselves with the right infrastructure in order to sustain that.
Yeah, I think it will.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to do everything that's being done in the global north. I mean, we can find ways to apply it in our institutions. But I think we have to keep an eye on that and learn from the mistakes that have already happened in areas or places where they have tried to integrate AI. But I feel like there's there's more talk to it. There's a lot of, I think we can definitely use it, but cautiously.
In terms of research and innovation, is there anything that particularly is exciting to you at this point?
I think infection, it's being left behind in some areas, but I think with globalization, with the movement of people, I think it's still important to focus on that and apply new technologies and new methods to, you know, do more work on that. I feel like there's a lot that can be done there. And well, non-communicable diseases is really, really taking over now. We're getting to see a lot of people with cancer, a lot of tumors. And the management of these cases has changed quite drastically. And the research that we do, we are limited in because of the infrastructure that we have. We do not do genetic testing most of the time. We don't have immunohistochemistry readily available, and the classification of tumors has drastically changed to involve those as well, and we are just making gross diagnoses based on what we have. And I wish we could integrate that, and I wish we could do more, because even if the treatment is lagging, if we start making the diagnosis the way it should be made, then the treatment, I think, will catch up.
Yeah, definitely true. Hopefully we see those changes in the future. I mean, it takes someone having the idea in the first place and bringing it about to effect change. And I think with people like you on board, we're definitely going to see some change in the future. Dr. Amal, I have a little bit of a light-hearted question for you. So what purchase of $100 or less in the last few months has positively impacted your life? And yeah, could you tell us a little bit about it?
My wireless earphones, because I don't really like it because it kind of hurts my ears sometimes, but I like that I can, which I'm using right now, which is purchased recently. So I like it. I like to listen to podcasts now. Have a little bit of a laid back, kind of not lifestyle, but a commitment right now. So I like to enjoy it. And
Yeah,
it tunes out a lot of unnecessary noise.
interesting.
Like,
Have you been listening to any podcasts that you particularly enjoy in the field of radiology, maybe neuroradiology, or even just neuroscience? Or have you
not
been just
particularly, but
enjoying?
I listen to Hidden Brain. It's got a lot of science in it, and I really love the way the presenter tackles issues and spins, the topic he's talking about. I really enjoy that. I
Yeah,
think it's one of my favorite podcasts, and I recommend to everyone.
great.
Not that I'm sponsored to say this, but I really do enjoy it. It kind of makes my commute pleasant.
On a final note, if you had any advice to give to someone starting off their journey similar to yours, what would that be?
Uh, don't stress. I mean, um, whatever will happen. And if it was meant for you, it will happen. And kind of ignore the background noise. There are a lot of people who might tell you you can't do this, or who want to judge you for whether you do it or not. Either you're damned if you do or damned if you don't. So, just do what you feel is right. Accept challenges sometimes, because it makes you a better person. You learn a lot from your mistakes and the things you've done right. Um, and do what you feel is right. I think that's important. And if you feel that it's not the right thing for you anymore, don't think of it as a failure, but stepping back is also a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a solid word of advice. Thank you so much for being a presenter on our podcast today. We really appreciate your time. And I know you're in transit and you're flying back to Ethiopia today. So we really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. If our listeners want to connect with you, where can they find you?
I'm on Twitter or X, um, and via email as well or LinkedIn. I think you have those and you can share it if people want to connect, and I'm open.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And safe journey, safe travels. And thank you so
Thank
much
you.
again. It was an honor to
Thank
speak
you
to
for
you.
having me. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining in to listen to our podcast. If you or someone you know has a story to share, a unique perspective, or you simply want to connect with us, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're always on the lookout for fascinating guests to feature on the show. You can drop us an email at info.camera.mri@gmail.com. See you soon for our next episode.